So that is not something you want to miss out on. Shaco engaging. He's looking for that kill, but he's not getting it. I'm staying behind.
Look around! So many ways to kill you. I command you to die! Don't bring that trash over here. You're going to die looking like that? You are right to fear my greatness.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm gonna show you how to play Qiyana today, a very unique AD assassin, super versatile and can be played both as a mid laner and as a jungler. So Qiyana's passive makes it deal bonus damage and this has a cooldown per target, but when you pick up a new element then this cooldown resets, so that's why it's important that when you burst somebody down, you make sure that you always use two different elements. Your W is the ability that you use to pick up elements with, and the way you do that is that you hover the mouse over the element you want to pick up, and it doesn't have to be right on top of it. As long as it's nearby, then you can pick it up. So you have three different ones you can choose from. You have the terrain one. This is the one that deals bonus damage when they're low HP, so this is something you want to use at the end of your combos. Then you have the river element, which I just used right now. This is the one that you use to root people, so this is very good at the start of your combos. And then you have the grass one, or the bush one, whatever you call it, and when you use that then you get some invisibility. And that one is very good for kiting. I like to use that against, when I have to kite something like a Tristana, because they're gonna straight up outburst me in the early game. Then you can use that to like make sure that you get a good trade off, but they cannot trade back. And your Q is the way that you use the elements. And then when you have your E up guys, then you just go in like this, because level 3 Qiyana gets a really strong power spike. So the most important thing you have to know here is that when you use the EQ, Qiyana is going to automatically aim their Q at the target, so you don't have to aim with the cursor. That's really important to know, and yes, it still works. Like, people have been asking me if this still works or not, and yes it does guys, they did not change it. They just made it so if the target is outside of your range, then she'll not automatically aim at the target, but that doesn't really matter most of the time. So the way you want to burst down people, I got a really nice kill on the Shaco here, is that you usually start off with the river element because it roots people, so you go like EQ when you have the river element up. And then you immediately press W, because every single time you pick up a new element, your Q resets. So you start with the river and then into the terrain one, because terrain one is the one that deals bonus damage to low HP targets, so it's good as a finisher. So Qiyana is a champion that really wants to snowball the early game. It is an AD assassin, extremely versatile I would say, because of the elements. Like, she can really do a lot of stuff as long as you know when each element is good and how to use them properly. But I like to pick up the river element when I want to engage. Also, another important thing, besides the bonus effects you get from W, like bonus attack speed, bonus range and bonus magic damage, when you walk nearby, getting a really good engage off here, when you walk nearby the corresponding element type, you also get some bonus movement speed, and that's very good for roaming. This is what you can do if the enemy champion is trying to play safe, you know, by standing behind minions and think they're safe, is that, remember, Qiyana's E dash is a fixed distance, so it works the exact same way as Yasuo's dash. So if you stand closer to the target while you dash, then you're going to dash further. And you can really abuse that if the enemy champion is hiding behind minions, then you can like do that to like a gap close. So dash through the minions and then you get 2 quick Qs off. So I want to snowball this champion, so you should expect to pick up a lot of kills whenever you play Qiyana. That is the entire purpose of playing assassins. You don't really focus on farming, you focus on getting kills, you focus on snowballing, you focus on roaming. And when you get the items you need, then you also have to close off the game ASAP. So you can let the opponent push if you're able to find kills, otherwise you just shove it. So 2 double Qs. It's going to clear out the way pretty fast. You can also just use that to poke with. Remember, Q is the way that you use the element. Make sure whenever you burst somebody down, you do it with 2 different element types, because otherwise you don't get to utilize the passive. Also that W dash, it's a short dash that will allow you to hop over walls as well. Just like I did right here. So this is also pretty good for mobility, because there are a lot of different walls that you can hop over with. It can help you chase people, it can also help you escape. Now we got that ultimate up, so it's going to knock people in a direction you choose, and if you knock them into a wall, then it's also going to stun them, and then it's going to form this explosion around that wall. So it's going to like explode all the way around it, so it's a massive AoE ability. And if you use it in the river or in the bushes, then you do not have to like knock them into a wall, because then it's still going to stun them. And that is how you use the ultimate. If you make sure they collide with a wall when you don't have a river or bush nearby, then it's going to stun them, and then you can follow up with the rest of your combo. So it's like your ultimate super OP all-in combo, and it's enough to burst any mage down. So we're getting the Prowler's Claw because that's like the highest damaging item you can get on Qiyana for the mythic item. Otherwise we also have Eclipse, which is something you want to buy if you're playing against a tankier team. But like for maximum DPS, then Prowler's Claw is the way to go. And if you also look at high elo games, then that is the item they are buying the most. But like when you have Serrated Dirk, like that's already a massive power spike. You have to be able to find kills on this champion. Like she's pretty difficult to master, but as you get the mechanics down, you'll learn to pick up kills, and this champion snowballs extremely hard. It's also very hard to shut down because of the mobility and the different elements, especially the bush one, the green one, that gives you that invisibility so people cannot target you. So if they stay far back like this is what I like to do. Just dash through the minions and then try to like get 2 double Qs off. Sometimes you'll even be able to get an auto tag in. But that's like how you want to slowly poke them down. And when you see them low HP, you can just flash for the kill. Unfortunately, it flashed out, but this is pretty much how you want to do it. And if he did not have the flash up, he would have died. But remember, the most important thing here, as said, is the EQ combo. And another free kill, the EQ combo, guys. It is going to make it so Qiyana automatically aims the Q at the target. You don't have to aim the Q yourself. She's going to do it for you. And when you know that, it's going to make everything so much easier. Okay, so that's like the most important thing you have to know on Qiyana. You see, I did not make it, so he got knocked into the wall, so that's why he did not get stunned. Then it's only going to be a knockback. That's why I died right here, so you can see if you mess it up, then it really does not do much for you. So if you don't have a river nearby, or bush, then make sure you knock them into a wall. You got the shot down, but we got the Prowler's Claw, so as I said earlier on, the reason you get this item is because it's like the highest damaging item we have on AD Assassins. And damage is all you need on Qiyana, and then you also get that mobility, like that dash, because then it also allows you to like one-shot bruisers later on. That's how much damage you'll get. So when you go into roam, make sure that you pick up the corresponding element type, usually the river element. And that's also the one that you want to use when you're ganking somebody, because it's a root. So that's like the hard CC ability that you have. And when you show out the wave, you can go for the tower plates. If you cannot do that, you can just go roam. So Qiyana, AD Assassin, you really want to roam a lot, because like the roaming is really OP on AD Assassins. They can pick up free kills most of the time, and even if you don't get a kill, you can just take down the summoners, and then you can go for the next engage. That's a pretty unfortunate counter gang, but you can see if you just want to kite people, you can also use 2 river elements. But you're not getting that double passive proc off, so that's something you have to keep in mind. We can look for re-engage. See how I used that ultimate, guys? Straight into the wall right there, ended up stunning 2 people at once. And then EQ to like make it so Qiyana automatically aims at the target, and then we can just kite with the bush element. This is how you want to play it if like you want to make sure people cannot damage you back. You can also use your W inside while you're invisible without it revealing you, so that's also important that you know that. And an EQ to finish him off, and you can see if you become really good at kiting like this, guys, then you can really turn around the fight even though you're low HP. This is why Qiyana is so fun to play, because she is so versatile. Like, there are so many different ways that you can outplay the opponent, and it's always fun. Like, every game is different, so if you're looking for an AD assassin to pick up that's really fun and unique as well, then Qiyana is something I can definitely recommend. Just going for some more AD heavy items. So Yumus is an item that gives you a lot of damage, but also that active, more mobility, so you can like look for easier rooms. It's also easier to chase people and also easier to run away. So we are really fit right now, of course, so one combo is gonna destroy this Veigar. So Veigar is actually a champion that does really well into Qiyana, not necessarily in a 1 versus 1. But when you get to the team fights, if you drop stun the cage and you're inside it, then you're dead. Because you cannot dash out of it. Single combo and it's a one shot. This is how it's going to be against every single mage, because you have too much damage for them to deal with it, so they never want to be within close range. And if they play safe by staying behind minions, then you can do the stuff I told you about earlier on, in that use the minions, dash through them, and then you try to like poke them with double Qs and then just back off. And if they're low HP, you shove them under the tower, then you can look for the dive. Like, you can one-shot them pretty fast. Just make sure that you engage with your river element first, because that's going to root them. So when they're rooted, then the next Q, which is going to be the terrain element, is going to be a guaranteed hit, and that is also the finisher one. That deals bonus damage to low HP targets. We got some plates, sitting on a decent amount of gold, picking up the river element because I'm roaming through the river for bonus movement speed. Also, looks like they got this under control. Hitting bot here. I took down the Nami, and then we can go for the illusion. Bam, 1 Q, 1 shot. Also guys, when you like recall and you're heading back to lane, then you have the terrain element, and then just make sure that you walk nearby the structures and the wall. So like the inhibitor, tower, and the walls as well when you get back to lane. Just so like you can get back to lane a bit faster. Just pushing out, as I said, 2 double Qs, that's fine for pushing out the wave. And then nothing else to do, you can recall or look for rooms. You can also look for dive. At this point, it's pretty easy to dive the Veigar, because like a basic combo without the ultimate is going to be able to deal with him. The only thing you have to watch out for is the cage. That is like the ultimate Qiyana counter, especially later on. Because if you ever get caught inside of it, and you don't have flash up, you're dead. Like, just done so. They got the Drake, I just clear out the vision here, that's why I have the red sweeper. I like to get that on assassins, because you will be roaming a lot, and if they're wards, then you also want to be taking them down. Unfortunately, I trolled a bit with the ultimate, but we still got Dynami. You can see this fight you want to roam a lot on these assassins. It's really important that you abuse the OP roaming, because if you're not able to find kills in the lane, you have to find it elsewhere. If you're not able to roam and you're not able to find kills, then you will not be as effective with Qiyana, and she will end up getting outscaled by those traditional mages and stuff. So if you want to snowball, learn to find kills in the lane, and if you cannot do that, just roam. Popping the vision cone here so you can see the Shaco. So if you try to engage, then we can see him even if he is invisible. Back to lane, pushing this out. If I base right now and used all my gold, then my Q would easily one-shot the backline minions. I'm sitting on 3.5k gold. But we also want that tower gold, because that is the first tower of the game. So that is not something you want to miss out on. Shaco engaging. That's like the fast combo right here. So use the Prowlers first. There's something you want to do for maximum DPS is that use the Prowlers first, the active, because that's going to increase your damage output, and then use the basic combo. So like Prowlers active into EQ, then W to pick up the terrain element, and then another Q, and bam. Any squishy target will be absolutely wiped out. Now we got the Yumus, and we're also getting some items towards the Cyrilda's Grudge for the armor pen, but also the other stats are also really nice to have. So Yumus, as I said, a lot of damage, but also a lot of mobility, and that's really what you want on assassins. You see the Q one-shotting easily right now. It did not do that previously because I was sitting on a lot of gold, so if you're really fed and you don't buy the items, then you're gonna fall behind the damage curve until you get the items. You can see the damage of this ultimate alone. Half HP from this Lucian. But this ultimate actually makes Qiyana scale pretty well compared to a lot of other assassins, because like when people contest objectives like the Baron, the Dragon and such, this ultimate really covers such a big area. So if you like manage to hit multiple people in a fight with that ultimate and stun them, then you can easily single-handedly carry the fight. You see how you can kite with that bush element. That's why I'm telling you guys, it's really important that you know how to use it properly. The green one is so good for kiting. So like multiple people waiting for you to appear, you know, waiting to push you down, then that's the one you want to use. And that's a Shaco. He's looking for that kill, but he's not getting it. Because we're gonna burst him down really fast, and this is also what makes Qiyana really obnoxious to play against. Because of that perma invisibility. And you see, I used that combo really fast at the end, because that also allowed me to proc electrocute, and the guy just disappeared. Of course, I'm also sitting on a lot of kills, but it would be the same if I was, you know, half the kills, or maybe only 4 or 5 kills. Because Qiyana is a champion that has an insane amount of burst damage. So as long as you are making sure you're at least even, then you should always be able to like one-shot squishy targets with the right combos. Now the Cyrilda's Grudge giving some really nice armor pen. When we get it, which is great against the J4, the jungler, but also the slow is also really nice to have. Just that ultimate to make sure that we don't hit the wrong, we don't hit the clone and end up dying, so just had to make sure. But I still did end up running it down, unfortunately. But now we got this Cyrilda's, so armor pen and also that really nice slow. which is even more nice when you go for that all in. I should probably not have given that to Lucian. I think it's a lot better if I gave it to Shaco, because like Lucian and Nami, really annoying a duo to play against. But at this point, if they have like some really annoying single target or like AoE CC, for example the Veigar's Cage, then what you can do is that you can get the Edge of Night, because that's like going to block out the first ability they use, and that's going to be the cage for the Veigar, so that means that he will not be as difficult to deal with later on in the game. So this item can like help you secure the kill, but it can also help you secure your escape, so you make sure that after you get the kill you're not stuck inside that cage. Because like the shield is going to block it out, so you can always walk out. Just roaming around the river, I do this a lot when the AD carry is walking back to lane. Try to find a free kill on them, because most of the time they don't check the bushes. Shaco coming up. That is the clone. I do not know why Twitch wasted his C on the clone. But it's like a really bad fight we took here. So yeah, I ended up dying as well, and also the Tahm Kench. We should just have backed off, so that's a big mistake from our part. Qiyana is not a champion that you get really high CS with. Actually, most Qiyana players are around 5 to 6 CS per minute, because AD assassins, you're looking for kills, not to get high CS with. So yeah, it's not a mage. Like mages always have to get high CS per minute. It's not the same case with AD assassins. It's of course nice if you can do that, but your main goal when you play AD assassins is always to get a lot of kills. And then in team fights, when you're on the mid game and such, what do? You focus on the squishy targets. Most of the time that has to be the AD carry. Or the mage, depending on who is the priority target, who's the most fit, who's the one that can destroy your team. You take them down in a single rotation, and then your teammates should be able to deal with the rest. Man, it's really unfortunate that ultimate did not hit them with the detonation, because then they would be CC'd and then I would have gotten a free double kill. That does happen sometimes, but you also get a lot of ability haste with this build. So even if you miss your ultimate, it's still going to be on low cooldown. And I ended up running it down again. You can see how annoying that cage is in teamfights. That's why Veigar is a big Qiyana counter. Not in the lane, but like later on in the game, when the team fights and when people start grouping. Because if you ever try to engage, he's just gonna drop down the cage and then bam, you're dead. And that even works even if you're inside that, even if you are invisible. So you also cannot kite people in teamfights, because he just drops down the cage and then you're gonna be stuck there, and then they will be trying to hit you, you know, AoE skill shots and stuff. And you're gonna die, so be extremely careful when you play against something like a Veigar. Even though he doesn't do much in the laning phase, he's very good at setting you up for ganks, and he's also very good at shutting you down from the mid game when people start grouping up. And that just makes Edge of Night even more important, because like if the cage is the first ability that procs your Edge of Night shield, then it's not going to stun you. Camping in the bushes, I do this a lot. Actually all the time, especially if there's like a buff up, because then you know that either the AD carry or the jungler is going to appear at some time, and then you can maybe pick up a kill, or you can even, you know, take down the summoners while also picking up the kill. Going for the J4. EQ into the ultimate, and then terrain element as a finisher because it deals bonus damage to low HP targets, and bam. You can see even a tanky target is going to get one shot when you have that armor pin item. Got that nice shutdown on the Veigar too. So Veigar, really annoying not only because of his E, but also because he builds tank. So later on this guy is going to be extremely difficult to deal with, so you have to like close out the game as soon as possible. Finally we got the Edge of Night, so this is like to counter Veigar, most importantly, because of his E. But also if you play against something like an Annie, who like CCs on the first ability, then you can cancel that out as well. So this Edge of Night is extremely OP against champions like the Annie, Veigar, also Twisted Fate. Because like if Twisted Fate cannot stun you, because you have that shield up, he has to like use one super important ability just to get the shield out. So if he does that, then he's gonna lose like most of his damage, right? So that already makes Edge of Night such a big counter to Twisted Fate, Veigar, Annie as well, because they have to sacrifice a lot just to be able to take down the shield. Even though I am not able to, or you don't really farm it out on these champions, I still try to like go to the side lanes when I can. Just to get some farm, because we don't want to fall behind an XP. Getting the flank off here, we saw the Shaco. I think Rengar used his ultimate a bit too early. He should just sit in this ultimate because like it's gonna reveal the Shaco. This is how you want to play Qiyana. You don't go in from the front. You can see I was in the bush, I was not with my teammates. You always want to be flanking all the time, because people will not be focused on you. Like they'll be busy focusing down your frontliner, and also the AD carry and mage, or whatever else you have on the team. So they're gonna completely forget about you, and when that happens, that's when you go in. And that's how you find plays like this, guys. Like if you can do this consistently, you're gonna climb easily. Like Qiyana is a champion that can easily get you to at least diamond. Last item building towards a distance, just because like it is so OP. You get damage, but you also get that tanky passive, and ability haste and armor on top of that. So that item is actually one of the most OP items we have right now, and that's why I'm buying this. Otherwise you can also go for Guardian Angel, anti-healing, or just any other high damaging item. It really depends on what you need. But as long as this... That was a really nice ultimate into the flash away. But as long as this stance is OP, then you can just build this every single game. So we do have the Baron. We just look to have to push it out. We have the group here. Twitch is split pushing for some reason. That will just end up wasting time, because like they will eventually become really strong in team fights because of the Veigar. So we have to like push two lanes at once, or we can group and try to like finish them off right now. Single EQ, of course, enough when you're this far ahead, especially on a squishy support like the Nami. So the problem here is that when you push this far up, then you don't really have a chance to like pick up the river element. But like at the wolves, there's like a small pool of there's a small pool here where you can actually pick up the river element, and A lot of people don't know this, so make sure that you don't walk all the way back to the river just to pick it up. So you can just hover around the teammates. I like to do this often, especially if we are behind in a fight. Like the team who died and the Rengar is far away, then you can like hover your teammates, and then if they overextend too much and they group up, then you can look for the engage, even though they have the numbers advantage. I'm staying behind. And that is what allows me to do stuff like this. This is why you want to be flanking. This is why it is so important that you know that assassins want to play the fights by flanking. Even if you're not able to engage while flanking, you're still going to pressure the AD carry and the squishy target so much, because like they have to constantly be aware of you, and when they cannot see you, they can never commit fully. So that will also force them to play safe. You just have to push it out. We are not ending the game as fast as I wanted it to, because like we constantly get caught over and over. So that can definitely be annoying, because like at some point you are gonna get outskilled. Like you have the damage late game, but like something like a Veigar is like a million times more useful later on in the game. First of all, he's gonna one-shot you, but he also brings that really OP cage with him, and he also has the Aerofrost, so he has a lot more damage. He's also tankier when he starts getting the tank items, and then he also has a lot more utility. And he's a ranged champion, so he doesn't have to put himself at the same type of risk that we do on melee champs. Luckily, Rengar got a kill, so we're gonna abuse that. Easy peasy one shot on the Nami too. Now is when we have to abuse it and try to look for the push here, because we have to break home the mid base. See, I'm really saving my abilities, so I was waiting for the J4 to engage, and if he ulted right there, then I would have used that ultimate. Unfortunately, it did not end up hitting. But good guy Tam Kent saved me, so that's awesome. A lot of people still died though. Including myself, so it's like, we are not really that good at closing out the game. And that is really going to end up punishing you in the long run if you don't master how to close out games when you have a lead. Even if you know it, your teammates definitely do not. You really have to take everything into your own. And try to find sneaky ways to find kills, and then like brute force your way through the lane so you can finally break open the base. So I have a full build AD carry almost, and the Veigar also has some tank items, so it's going to get more and more difficult as the game progresses, because at some point I just get blasted with one ability from the Veigar, and when that happens I'm gonna be extremely useless. So they're actually turning around the game pretty well. They also got the Baron right now because we are trolling. Like, all of us are just straight up running it down. So that's like a perfect example of a solo queue game where people don't know how to close it out perfectly. They just keep ARAMing. When that happens, you just have to be the better guy at ARAMing. You have to be able to find the kills in the fight. Find a way to like hit multiple people. Like if you get like 2 people, then it's GG's. Camping in the bush. I'm hoping somebody to appear. This is what I do all the time, and this is also what high elo players do. When they support, we know they will be walking up to get a ward down, and when you're behind, you really have to abuse this. Look at that burst damage from the Veigar, but because we had the Death Stance, we survived. That's why that item is so OP. And finally, we can go ahead and end the game. So this is how you want to like sneak yourself to kills when you are behind this wall. So this was how to play Qiyana. Hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching and see you all in the next one.